Sometimes, dude, sometimes people hang things. They hang things in their garage in the cold.
Too soon. When you mention the word hanging, all I think about is Jussie Smollett. Smollett. Oh my God! Talk about setting a whole bunch of people back in one interview.
Crazy story.
Interesting.
Such a mess.
It's a mess, and I think what's really awful about it because his story, it was like good and bad of it. The good of it was when people thought that he was violated and he was a victim of a hate crime, it wasn't just gay people that was rushing to support him. It was like thug dudes, you know what I'm saying? It was like some real motherfuckers that was like, I mean, I saw Exhibit make a comment. It was a community of people away from the LBG community that thought it was really fucked up.
Yeah.
And that was the beauty of the incident because it kind of brought people together. But the fucking thing about it, it was just a lot. And it's so fucking unfortunate. It's so unfortunate somebody would play on people's emotions.
Yeah.
Or to benefit themselves. It's awful.
Well, there's a certain narcissism that exists in show business that I think you and I both know very well. You know, we've all seen it, and thankfully the people that seem to be the best, for whatever reason, they have some of the best handles on it. Like Dave doesn't show any of that.
Right.
But there's some people that do. And that narcissism is weird, that wanting it to be all about them. And they'll do sneaky shit like fake an attack. Like that's a symptom of that same kind of thinking. It just got desperate and went in some crazy way.
It was awful for some reason because you have people like when that first went down, you had people that normally people that you would look at, okay, that's my friend or whoever, you started having side eyes. And it's so messed up. And I think also it's messed up as much as people rode for him when they thought that it was an injustice or everything, nobody's really talking about it. Nobody's addressing it like, you know, this is our movement. These are things that we're trying to progress toward. But this was an isolated incident and just say how awful it was. You know?
You know, the beautiful thing is that people are way more tolerant than they ever have been before. The also beautiful thing is attack didn't happen, right? So we don't have to think of one more atrocious thing that people have done to another person for no reason.
Right.
So that's good. And it's also good that you get to see where that kind of stuff heads, where you're always looking to be a victim, to the point where you realize there's like some sort of currency in being a victim. So people fake being a victim so they can get all this fucking attention. It's good for us. It's good for us to see, because you see that now next time a story comes around that's just a little fishy,
you're going to second guess it.
Huh. Yeah.
Exactly. It's like the boy who cried wolf, and that's what's unfortunate about it, because anytime someone says that they were a victim of such a heinous crime like that, you want to believe them. You want to believe them the minute they say it.
Yeah.
But with this incident, it makes you start second-guessing the thing, and that's another thing that was awful about the whole thing. Well, and all the smoke he's getting right now that he deserves, because I've been tearing his ass up on Instagram, on everything. He deserves every bit of it.
He knows he deserves it. Everybody knows he deserves it. I read a story once about this dude who said that he punished his daughter by making her sit in the backyard by a tree, and then he went out there an hour later and she was gone, and he suspected that coyotes got her. And I remember thinking that story going, man, that just does not sound real. That does not sound real. It just seems weird.
Yeah,
this guy left a baby in the backyard and coyotes got it? Like, really?
Well, it was like a not walking or anything?
Well, he left the baby, like, to punish the baby, like a 2-year-old. Left it in the yard. Well, it turns out he really didn't do that. The kid died, and he'd stuffed it in some drainage ditch somewhere. So this, I don't remember how the kid died or what was the reason for it, but it was one of those stories where you hear the story like, Jesus, this doesn't sound real. Sometimes stories don't sound real.
Yeah. But the next thing, we're going to be second-guessing everything.
Well, I hope not.
But when it first went down, I thought it was a situation where Lee Daniels and Jussie sat down in the writer's room, and Lee Daniels like, anybody got any ideas for any new episodes? It's just like, I got one. Nobody's ever going to believe it. Look, I'm going to be hungry as shit, right? I'm going to go to Subway to get a 12-inch foot long. And Lee Daniels like, I believe that. I believe that part. And then he went through the whole story. And Lee Daniels said to him, nobody's going to believe it. Jussie got upset and told Lee Daniels, we'll see, I'm going to shoot it myself. And he walked himself into that whole scenario. And it's just awful.
That's entirely possible. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like it. Now you're going to say, now anybody that was a fan of Empire, which I know a lot of people that's listening were, being very sarcastic when I say that. They're going to be like second guess the storyline of so many of those shows, the storylines of everybody who ever said that they were done wrong or anything. The awful thing about this is now people are going to be ready and quick to just second guess anything that you say.